In advance of Hurricane Dorian hitting the US, Donald Trump was out there at FEMA press conferences, giving interviews about it, and he returned to one of his weird lines that doesn't make a ton of sense. Here's what he said.
We don't even know what's coming at us. All we know is it's possibly the biggest. I'm not sure that I've ever even heard of a Category 5. I knew it existed, and I've seen some Category 4s. You don't even see them that much, but a Category 5 is something that I don't know that I've ever even heard the term, other than I know it's there. That's the ultimate, and that's what we have, unfortunately.
Okay, so look, press conference about the hurricane. Of the things on the spectrum of things Trump does, this is what he should be doing. He's the president, he should be warning people about the danger of a hurricane.
Right.
But saying you've never heard of a Category 5 storm is a little bit odd.
So among the other things that a president should be doing is just being educated on what also has happened.
I would like that.
During his presidency.
Exactly,
right.
and that's the thing. So he said right there, I believe it was yesterday, might have been 2 days ago, but within the last 48 hours, I've never heard of it, almost nobody has heard of it. But that's weird because I think it was Casey Hunt, I think, on Twitter. She put together a little mashup of other times that he's said that exact same thing.
I'm not sure that I've ever even heard of a Category 5. Category 5 is something that I don't know that I've ever even heard the term.
They've never seen a category like this coming because it came in really at a 5.
It was a Category 5. I never even knew a Category 5 existed. Got hit as a 5, Category 5 storm, which just literally never happened. It actually touched down as a Category 5. People have never seen anything like that.
This has been a Category 5, which few people have ever even heard of.
A Category 5. Nobody's ever heard of a 5 hitting land.
Category 5 hurricane, Category 5. Never heard about Category 5s before.
It's really weird, and like, why are we? It's all so.
Is it
weird?
Is it that he is forgetting, which would be worrisome? Or is it that he's not forgetting, but it's like a good line that he doesn't want to get rid of?
Well, the people,
like he knows what a Category 5 is. He's always known what it is, but it's impressive to say that nobody's heard of it, and so he just keeps saying it. I honestly don't know if those two, which is weirder.
I think a lot of people in Puerto Rico would say that it just wasn't of importance to him.
Now, why is that?
Because of how he treated them after they were hit by that very type of hurricane that he says he doesn't, like he clearly at least doesn't remember, or
maybe
didn't
he
pay
doesn't
attention to, or
remember that
didn't
one.
cause like a significant point in his mind.
Yeah, so as you rightly point out.
This is like being like Levee's break. Never heard of that. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, yeah, this is,
Tornado, what name so?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you rightly point out that thousands of Americans died in that particular Category 5 hurricane that he should probably remember, considering he was responsible in large part for them dying because he didn't care, he didn't do anything, he didn't help them.
He threw paper towels, remember? Like,
exactly, but that wasn't even the only one. While he's been president, there was Hurricane Irma, Hurricane Michael, which hit Florida, and now this, the fourth. Just in the time he's been president. He's been alive for like 300 years. So you would think that he would remember a few. The idea that no one has heard of them. So there have been 35 Category 5 hurricanes recorded throughout history, 35. And a lot of them just in the past couple of years. And so, look, I don't know if it's that his brain is cheese or if it's just a weird like applause line, but it's really bizarre, especially when US president have presided over not just multiple storms of that category. That can't be put on him, he didn't cause them, but he did cause the horrendous response to it. He did cause thousands of Americans to die in Hurricane Maria in Puerto Rico because he didn't care and didn't want to do anything. And so it is just so bizarre. Like, I don't know, as a reasonable human, how do you watch that and think, like, we're worried about Joe Biden because like he forgot a date or something? Like, yes, we should be worried about it too, but like this guy is losing it. Or he's lying. I honestly don't know. But the thing is, we can't even focus too much on that because there's other weird stuff going on around the hurricane. Maybe one of the reasons he doesn't remember Category 5s is because he's distracted by other things, like this.
oh gosh, that's
And
horrible.
you see there, this was filmed yesterday. This is the president in Virginia having a nice round of golf while the hurricane is bearing down on the US. Now I know what you're saying, is it really that significant that he's golfing, considering that he's golfed hundreds of times as president? Well, perhaps not.
No, it's not significant, but it's still
there were big things happening.
Frustrating.
It is frustrating.
That he takes so many breaks. It's just another one. This is not even the this is not the first time he's been playing golf, because that's what it is. It's playing a game when something important is going on around him. This is not the first time, but it's just, I guess this is just what you'd expect. And it's like even comparing how he spoke about President Obama and the few breaks he took, I think compared to these breaks and this amount of breaks, it's like a broken record at this point.
Exactly.
Because we're way beyond.
He attacked him for playing golf. He specifically said, I will not play golf as president. There is indeed always a tweet. And so here's the thing. You might be a very reasonable person, very forgiving person, and think, well, look, he's got a cell phone. He can, well, probably just tweet, but he can receive calls while he's out there. Well, bear in mind that while he's out there, you are paying for that. And by the way, you are paying him for that, because as is always the case, he was at one of his own properties. He was in Virginia at one of his properties. And what's weird about it is that at the same time he's at one of his golf courses, the VP who's traveling abroad, he's also at one of his golf courses.
Right.
Because Mike Pence was dispatched to Ireland for meetings in Dublin. Now what's weird about this is that if we can bring up this tweet, it's gonna show a map of Ireland. Let's see this right here. It's gonna show you Dublin on the East Coast. Doonbeg, the Trump property, is on the exact opposite side of the island, but that's where Mike Pence is staying. It's a more than 3-hour drive across a country, but he's staying there. Now, I know what you're thinking. It's really unreasonable to drive for 3 hours when you have daily meetings, but don't worry, he's not gonna do that. Instead, he's gonna be flying. It's about an hour flight that we're gonna be paying for so that he can stay at a Trump property on the other side of the country he's visiting. And look, this isn't just weird, it's corruption. It's always corruption. AOC thankfully pointed it out today, saying virtually every policy Trump pursues works to steal public money and personally enrich himself and his friends. Gutting national monuments pays fossil fuel CEOs. Border concentration camps pay private prison CEOs. Betsy DeVos pays loan sharks. It's always about the con, and that was responding to this weird Ireland con going on right now. So as we are worried that this hurricane is gonna hit the US, we're paying for him to play golf in Virginia. We're paying for Mike Pence to stay at a Trump property. And in both cases, weird that Donald Trump personally benefits financially as a result of that.
And it's like, they don't mind keeping up appearances to each other. So like Pence, the only reason he is staying at that weird property is to keep up appearances. He doesn't want it to be like, hey, there's a Trump property, even though it is pretty logical to say, yeah, but it was across the country. He can't say that. So he's gonna stay at his boss's property, right? Just to kind of keep up appearances. But neither of them care about keeping up appearances to the American people.
Exactly. Well, look, I think that they've made the calculation.
Sit inside.
Yeah, but people obviously are not actually paying attention to this. They either don't notice it or they've been so convinced that, look, if you're in the Trump cult, I mean, you think, oh, they're the best properties in the world.
Yeah,
literally every meeting should happen there.
Like whatever, I'm over
But the corruption is a significant problem.
Yes.
And people are right to point out that with Donald Trump as president, the corruption is more obvious. That's true. But there's also more absolute corruption. The amount has gone up. And that is a significant problem, not just in dollars, but as a precedent for future politicians. The idea that the US Treasury, the tax dollars, are just there to be looted for your own personal enrichment, that's not a precedent I want set by the president. Here on the Damage Report, we talk a lot about the big banks and their ways of getting rich off the poor. They saturate the market, but there are other options. And I've got info on a socially and environmentally responsible financial institution that has no ATM fees, gives you cash back on every purchase. They even commit 10% of their earnings to charity. It's called Aspiration, and if you go to aspiration.com/TYT to sign up, you'll get these perks, and that's more money to spend or to save or to spend. Just treat yourself.